Hi, everybody. Okay, so I wanted to start off with something a little different than my usual seriousness in the morning. So I was watching a documentary on Amazon, and it's called Loving Elvis. And I was purely out of curiosity at first because I wanted to see how deep they would go and if they would tell everything. Because sometimes I've seen movies and things where they don't talk about everything. Like they talk about most of it, but then there's always something they leave out, or because I guess even though he's been gone a long time now, uh, there's a legacy there, and so they want to protect it for his family members and well, the ones that are left now. Which is sad because we also lost Lisa Marie Presley a while ago. Um, yeah, so I guess that's what kind of hooks me also is that underneath it all, he was just a man and he wanted to be just a man and not a performer all the time. He wanted to perform because he loved doing it. I don't think he did it for the money or, necessarily the fame. He didn't mind being Elvis, but he didn't like being Elvis, the persona, you know. Just think about it. You have to perform, and then people have expectations, and you have to do certain things. And if you don't live up to the hype, then they say what happened to you and all this stuff. And so, and then also he had a daughter, in you know, um, 1967 or 68, and then when he passed away, she was still a little girl, so she lived the majority of her life without a father. So I can't imagine that. It had to be tough. I mean, Priscilla Presley is a good woman, and I'm sure she did all she could. But as I've discussed before, I don't think anybody can go without one parent or the other because there's always a lack, and um, you might feel like you're not good enough or not enough to be wanted by your parent. So that can happen. Um, so yeah, so they go from the beginning, obviously, from the start, to when he got famous, and then what they focused on was that he had many girlfriends, and um, apparently, which I didn't know this. I mean, I knew part of it, but I didn't know all of it. Um, he had met Priscilla Presley when she was really young. So he made a deal or a promise to her father that he would eventually marry her. But I don't think that he wanted to settle down. So he felt obligated to do it. And then also, I've heard interviews from him alone where he said he felt like he wanted to do it, but then once he had done it, gotten married, he knew he didn't want to do it anymore. But at that point, he was already involved, so you know. Um, and then I think what ultimately caused everything was just that he was number one tired, just tired of everything, and then um, he didn't want to have to live up to that anymore. So I think that's what caused it. I mean, of course, there are a lot of theories, and oddly enough, a lot of blame to go around about it, which I think is strange because, um, well, number one, it's not healthy to blame somebody about that. But then number two, okay, so if person A is more responsible than is person B not responsible at all, you get into a whole mess of whatever. So I would say don't blame anybody and just take it for what it is. But that's just me. But there are a lot of like ultimate fans out there who don't want to hear the truth about him. So there's that angle too. There's just a lot. And there was this one woman who I didn't recognize her by her face right away, but then I saw old pictures of her and I recognized her. It was Linda Thompson, and she said as a joke, "Oh, you mean that Elvis had other girlfriends besides just me?" It's kind of a joke, and then they opened the credits and stuff. So yeah, there were some people who knew what the situation was, and some people still wanted to believe that it was only him and them one on one. And then there's a woman who's like really older now who they tried to interview for the whole thing, and she didn't want to be interviewed at all. So it's got to be sad from that point because apparently he had told her that he was going to marry her, and then in the midst of all that, that's when he met Priscilla, and the whole thing started. So, just an interesting look back on a very famous, very tragic, um, you know, figure and story in music. So, if you like Elvis or you want to know about the history of it all, check it out. It's called Loving Elvis, like it is in my title. So, all right. Bye, everybody.